Hey, look, it's live. Hey, how you doing? This is Australian Transformers Weekly. This week, Hasbro has sprung some cyber surprises on all of us. Titan-class Predaking has gone up for pre-order locally, making headlines worldwide, which I'm sure was kind of the point. And if you're collecting third-party Legend scale robots, then you're probably in for a treat. Let's find out more after this.
Transition.
Hey, welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are your first stop and your last best hope for Transformers news in Australia. This is episode 142. We are recording live on February 16th, 2018. Joining me tonight, we have Max coming to us all the way from the city powered by Tesla over in Adelaide, South Australia. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. You haven't lost power this week?
Apparently we did. This is Brad posting on Facebook about it.
That's the only reason I know about it as well.
It's I managed to avoid it.
Excellent, excellent. The other voice you hear is, of course, Brad Mull coming to us from his undisclosed location in his kid's room in his secret underground bunker somewhere in Barnawatha in Victoria. It's not very secret anymore, and he's also sitting in front of a backdrop that does not feature Transformers.
No, welcome to Legoland. Yeah, I only realised tonight that post I was talking about was actually WA and not South Australia, so I didn't see any notifications.
It's fine. They're both the same thing. It's just west, right?
I just threw the power cable over to Nullarbor to help Earth out. Oh, big week. Toy fairs this weekend. We decided to go with the Friday night instead of delaying because we got a bumper crop of news stories. So.
Yes, we've ended up with a lot of news without waiting for Toy Fair news to come along. Although Hasbro did surprise us a little bit with some Transformers reveals. Was it this morning? Yes, it was. It wasn't yesterday morning. It was this morning. It's already been posted about 15 times by different people in the discussion group because people don't scroll down and see what people have already posted. But that's fine. I'm not upset by it at all.
Well done, Hasbro, because we've seen nothing out of London Toy Fair. We've seen nothing out of Nuremberg, and now they got these releases they're showing us now. So,
yeah, look, it's all gone Hasbro's way. Everything's coming up Hasbro today. Before we do get into the news, shall we take a look at some? Let's take a look at a bot shot. There we go. This is the winner of this week's weekly competition, Bot Shots. We encourage people to take bots out from behind their glass or wooden or not even a door, but take them off your shelf and stick them out in the real world and photograph them, just like Ben Keenan did, and he is the winner of this week's Bot Shots competition. I saw this photograph and my eye was oh, there we go. There's a pop-up notification. And there's another one. It's all right. I think I might just you can edit this part out where I go and kill that.
Where's your wallet?
Yes. Cool. You're not going to edit that part out, eh?
No. It's all part of the authenticity of it.
Show's going to be long enough without it.
It really is. So look, So my eye was drawn to the front window of Ben's van, where I thought I could spot the vague form of a bumblebee around here, and I completely missed the fact that Gears is parked on the ground next to Ben's van. So,
now that I see this in a bigger image, the driver's door is open, and I'm pretty sure what you thought was bumblebee was some flowers behind that staircase in the far distance.
Yes, very possible. In fact, yeah, I hadn't even noticed that. You're right. Yeah. I've done a good job interpreting that image this week. But congratulations, Ben. And I don't believe it was a close race this week either, was it?
No, another runaway.
Another runaway win. We have one more competition for February, and then we'll be announcing the monthly winner. Will be a random draw out of, in fact, Michael Vella, Ben Keenan, and Mark Vender. They're all the winners so far this month. So if you want to be in it, think up something to do with your bots next Wednesday, or take a photo beforehand and then hold it for next Wednesday. But see what you do.
Yeah, I'd have to check on Mark's location, but it's definitely a New South Wales heavy contingent this month. So
yeah, really,
other states get creative.
It really does seem to be, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's head to the news. There is some exciting news because there's new toys, and we like talking about toys possibly more than we should, and digging into them and overanalyzing them. But Hasbro's Cyberverse 2018 toy line for their upcoming animated series has been revealed today. Hasbro appeared to give Gizmodo, or not Gizmodo themselves, but IO9, the exclusive first look at these pictures, because they've all been copied off that website and mirrored around by all the Transformers news sites. So thanks a bunch, Hasbro. But the official press images did come out. We're going to have a look at them as well. So starting with the big bots, right? We've got these are the big bots, right? Yes, the Ultimate Class, Optimus Prime and Megatron. Now, these bots actually, I'm not sure these are the big ones. So where are we looking? I am actually going to go to the press photos there. So there is Ultimate Class Megatron, Ultimate Class Optimus Prime. I think they are the big ones, and the Ultra ones are the slightly smaller, that sort of look deluxe scale. So Hasbro has made a big thing in the press release announcing Cyberverse that these bots look very familiar in their bot modes. They look very much like their G1 counterparts, but their alt modes probably look a little bit different, maybe a little bit more modern and updated. That is definitely the case with Optimus Prime and Megatron. Now, you can definitely see some G1 similarities in his bot mode. We've been saying for some time that you can really see a house design form for Combiner Wars, Titans Return, and Power of the Primes, and I think you can sort of see that. You can sort of see those lines continuing into here, but they've updated them. They've sort of refreshed their house design style, and so there's a slightly more dynamic posability and some different lines and angles on these figures, while still maintaining their very G1 aesthetic and look. So, guys, what do you think of the new Prime and Megatron?
That Megatron, I get a real animated vibe from. I don't know what it is.
I think it's the tall face.
Yeah. Maybe the circles on his codpiece as well. It's just he's got his big gun tank modes on. A little bit less to be desired, but I don't mind the bot in general. Prime sort of does the same thing of what a lot of Primes have done lately, and just the legs fold up or laid out the back.
So I think they've actually kept much of the G1 transformation for Prime as well.
Yeah. Clear windows. I posted in the group about clear windows this week, and it appears I'm in the minority on that, so I won't go any further into that. But it's just a little bit different. We've seen a bit of a different design too with the Combiner Wars Prime, even the repaint into Octane and the G2 Prime. But here we got another Prime sort of design, the cab over truck as well.
Yeah, so we have lost Max at the moment. He is trying to reboot his internet and come back. So let's have a look at his vehicle mode, right? Now you can see that the windows on the chest so there's a divide right about sort of 2/3 of the way up the windows, and it looks to me like the rest of the roof and those windows slide onto the back for this figure. So I think it gives the bot a slightly more mature look, but it gives the alt mode a very interesting look where there's just these huge front windows now.
Yeah, that whole roof looks like the backpack with the windows at the top, but if that's just one piece as his backpack, I don't really mind. It doesn't hang down lower than his hips.
I'm a little bit disappointed to see that the front headlights seem to sit in front of his fists as well.
Those lower arms do look pretty simplistic. Even if they could fold or something.
I do kind of feel like the entire line does look like it might be an attempt to sort of simplify the whole transformation process and the appeal of the line to, I guess, older and younger fans alike.
Well, they're straight up legends.
We've been assuming that this line is really aimed at younger collectors, and it's going to sort of take the place of RID. But it might just be the main line from here on out, right?
Yeah, aside from movie or not movie series, what do we call it?
Oh no, the movie studio series. We've got a story coming up about that shortly as well. Let's keep going, shall we?
Yeah.
We've got the really small guys, so it's keeping to a very core G1 cast, right? So we've got Bumblebee. Bumblebee is going to be the main focus of the line, as he is the main focus of the cartoon. Starscream, Grimlock, and Shockwave. We've seen in other photos as well. So the Scout class figures are going to be the smaller figures. I think these guys take on the Legends mantle, and I quite like the design of them for small bots. I mean, there's a lot of us have been getting very used to small bots with a lot of the third party figures over the last few years. They seem to be going increasingly small, but we've also got ourselves a fairly good line in Legends figures, and a lot of us have quite enjoyed the Legends scale figures from Hasbro. There goes Rewind.
I'm free.
It was so small I dropped him, but a lot of us have really enjoyed these smaller scale figures. So if they're gonna continue to put out quality figures at that size and that price point, they'll be quite welcome.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed.
So it also does look here that Hasbro is sending a slight fuck you to Harmony Gold with the Gerwalk Starscream there.
Oh, not just with Starscream. Grimlock's got a Gerwalk mode as well.
Yeah. Actually, it's kind of funny. Like these figures are not entirely transformed into an alt mode, are they?
It's like they got a quick action battler mode or something.
No, I think they do. But also, it does look like Starscream is desperately trying to fly. Yeah, fly.
Flapping his wings as fast as he can, but he just can't get any altitude.
We might put the screen share back onto the figures instead of me now that I've done my flying thing.
Not bad.
And we go.
I love the rocket pods on Grimlock. I think the deluxe or the warrior figures got it as well. Just beefing that bot up a bit, adding to that G1 design a little bit and making it a little bit newer.
Yeah. There's a very G1-esque look to Grimlock more than any of the others, I think. Starscream's got some G1 colors, but tends to look more like some of the more recent Starscream designs. And Bumblebee looks like the sort of more recent design for Bumblebee that we've seen, the so-called evergreen layout. Now, I really do hope that when these figures transform, they actually do finish transforming instead of just going into half a mode, because they might just call them formers instead of transformers if that's the case. Let's get past those ultimate classes. So there's the ultra class. There's the ultra class Bumblebee here. Now this guy looks like he's one heck of a shell former, and if I'm honest, it looks like he reminds me of the huge RID versions of Bumblebee and some of the other figures that we saw, where it's really just a big chunk of plastic stuck to the bottom of a car design.
It just folds up on itself. Or
tucks in. I think it does. I'm trying to figure out whether we're looking at the front or the back there. I think we're looking at the back bonnet up near the. I don't know. I can't quite tell. Oh wait, no. I think that's actually the windscreen behind him at waist level.
And I reckon that chest's fake. It's a fake chest.
Yeah, there's just too much
Yeah,
kibble on top of the car for that to be.
Welcome back, Max.
Max, sorry, there's people doing gas work outside, and I think they cut the cable.
Fantastic.
Set it up using my phone data.
Look, if there are people who are going to cut a cable, it's probably good that they've cut the internet and not the gas line.
Yeah, I'd say it's maybe for the best.
Yeah. So, like in terms of transformation, what I think we're looking at here is like his legs are going to swing around. Or actually, they're probably not going to swing around at all because the wheels are on the bottom there.
Yeah.
So you can see the rear spoiler hanging down below him, right at the base, and then you can see the front of the car on his shoulders. So I think that's where everything's going to end up. It is a bit of a shell former, but if you do like your Bumblebee, then you can get a nice big Bumblebee.
Yeah, I get the feeling with these guys, the Ultra, Scout, Warrior, etc. It's not really a gauge of actual engineering level, but more of just the size of a figure, because this guy looks very basic.
I agree. Yeah. All right, let's move on there. We also have an Ultra Class Grimlock. Now, in terms of size and versus complexity, Ultra Class Grimlock does seem to be far more involved for his transformation than Ultra Class Bumblebee, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose just by virtue of the actual design it's going to be, but yeah, because it looks like the legs do compress up a bit at least. Sort of the outer panels will, I guess the lower bits will sort of form outer panels of the upper tail. I guess it's standard, but it's at least a bit more complex than what we've been usually seeing of these style of figures.
Now, Brad, you said earlier that Megatron gave you a very big animation vibe. Looking at looking at this, right? Overall, this is a very basic looking figure, right? But it really looks to me like they've really gone to town on the head. Like he's got quite a lot of detail in the head, and even like his head looks really angry.
It almost looks like the IDW head.
It really does, but like it looks like a comic book head because he's got this slight overscale eyes on it, and I'm quite a big fan of that. Look, if you compare it to the others, like Bumblebee's Bumblebee's face is just sort of it's just a bot face, although he does have quite large eyes as well. Prime, I think, doesn't
a bit elongated.
Yeah. Prime and Megatron, their faces are both a bit elongated. And we definitely did see sort of an animated proportion in Megatron's there, but man, Grimlock's face looks fantastic.
Yeah, there's just sort of gone to town on the detailing with him.
Yeah, I can't wait to be disappointed by this figure in hand.
Well, chances are it won't cost you that much for your disappointment.
Oh, I reckon these Ultra figures are going to come in at about $40-$45. I reckon they're intended to be sized closer to a Voyager.
I mean, hopefully they'll at least be, good, solid build quality in that case. I mean, we can hope.
I hope so. I feel like they're going to be a little bit bigger than a deluxe. Now, one more Ultra Class figure here. We do have Ultra Class Starscream. Now, again, he's got sort of the bot style look and detailing of some of the more recent figures, and I see a lot of RID Starscream in this figure.
Yeah, especially having the shoulder pads and the chest.
Yeah, and he's got very big feet, which people won't be familiar or won't be very happy about from Power of the Primes. But he's also got these. This is very different for Starscream. These massive shoulder cannons as well.
Yeah, it's like, what if we, instead of having null rays, we took 7 null rays and put them in a tube.
Yeah,
they better fire. Surely they've got to fire out, haven't they?
God, I hope so.
Maybe it's a Cybertron scatter shot type of deal. That could be could have a really nice appeal to it for parents and kids. Fly off shelves if that is the case. But worry about health and safety stuff.
Maybe. So looking at this picture now, being aware that like we're looking at essentially a marketing render. Now, I don't see the legs on this figure swiveling outwards. I'm not sure that I really saw it on any of these other Ultra Class figures as well. Like I don't see them having a rotator. But
stuff like they seem to be missing elbows and knees on a lot of figures as well. The
Well, so
articulation setup doesn't
yeah,
seem to be universal at all.
I do see elbows and like I do see shoulders on most of these guys, but yeah, it's I'm not sure whether or not not sure whether they'll swivel outwards or if they're just straight up, just going to move up and down, which would be consistent with the other Cyberverse line that we've had over the last couple of years, the extremely simplified Transformers that Hasbro was looking to bring into Australia. I'm not sure if they actually did, but
yeah, and I guess the deal with those was the possibility was it was like I guess with Titans Return they have a very standard articulation suite. But,
yeah, it's like they're all sort of built off a similar skeleton, right?
Yeah, but in these guys, it's just whatever they can factor into it, they do, and if they're not going to be able to make something move, then they don't bother.
Seems on par with G1.
Pretty much.
Very possibly. Let's move on there. So we've got a warrior class Bumblebee now. In RID, warrior class is essentially the deluxe size. So perhaps warrior class here is going to take over that line. It certainly looks similar to those bot designs. So warrior class. Yeah, go on.
Can I troll for a minute? Does that look as complicated as Masterpiece Sunstreaker and those elbows and arms and shoulders?
Not really.
Okay. Those
are wheels hanging off the back of his shoulders.
Yeah, just the shoulders don't even look like they're tabbed in. Just there's something wrong going on there.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd say what's going wrong is a complete absence of a budget. Having just been told make the cheapest figures possible. This still does technically look better than the Ultra Class one
because of those knees.
Yeah, pretty much. And despite all the stuff hanging off of this somehow has less kibble.
Yeah, his left arm looks quite a mess. The right arm, you can at least see a fist and stuff on it. Not huge fans of either of them, but this is what we can expect in the next little while. Now, it actually looks to me like if you look on his vehicle mode here, there's a hinge at the front. So I wonder if this might flip up to reveal some weaponry, or it's just part of the transformation process.
Looking at where that wheel is, it looks like a panel folds around over it.
Yeah, if you look on the the wheel well on the right arm, you can see that same hinge just below the wheel.
Yeah, that does look correct. Now, the other thing I feel I should say before we do completely dump on the figure, I do like the lines on his alt mode. Like, there's a really good flow from the back of the car up to the front.
Yeah, it's got this really chunky look to it, but it's also got a lot of smooth lines. It strikes a nice balance.
Yeah,
I think too. Looking back, we weren't too positive on the RID figures, the first ones we've seen either.
That's true.
Since the cartoon come out, we sort of fell in love with characters and must have them all. That's what normally happens. So, yeah, we'll see what happens when this cartoon comes out. But
indeed, yeah. Let's move on. There is also a warrior class Optimus Prime figure as well. Now, this looks kind of like he's. This looks kind of like it's just actually a smaller version of the bigger bot, really, in terms of transformation and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
I think his alt mode looks slightly more G1 than the ultimate class version, but yeah.
Yeah, he's at least in terms of the amount of engineering on him, it's very similar.
Does anyone have the Combinables Prime Voyager? I can't recall if they even painted the windscreen wipers on that. Did they paint the windscreen wipers on that?
I do have a version of it
that
behind
one
me. If you jump over to my camera, there's actually no windscreen wipers on him.
Yeah, I was going to say, just look at that.
So yeah, I don't know, but yeah,
that's a poor example.
Well, so you can sort of see where they might have been able to make this into a windscreen wiper. So let's say they were painted on.
All right.
Yeah. He just happens
But
to be
there's some
behind me.
nice there's some nice detail on here.
Yeah, look,
yeah.
end of the day, these are basic figures aimed at getting a G1 designs to kids. You know, it's just nothing too much to complain about.
Yep. But yeah, complain I shall just for a second longer. I still don't like the headlights being at the front, in front of the fists. But also, these do seem to have like molded fists right in there as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and that was that ultimate class figure having what appeared to be Legends designed or engineered hands and arms.
Do you think there's a chance that these might be trying to hit a slightly lower price point?
If
I should
they're
hope
cheaper,
so.
I'd be more interested.
Well, it could go either way, really, because we assumed that stuff like the RAD Warriors would be at a lower price point because they seem to be a bit more basic than the Generations Deluxes. But then those actually end up costing more.
But these look even more basic than an RAD Warrior.
Yeah, so I guess we'll find out. Look, and end of the day, it's figures that most of the people listening to this podcast probably won't end up picking up.
Maybe, maybe not. I think the interesting thing also looking at these legs here is that the left leg is more solid and the right leg seems to have a hole in it.
Yeah, I think that's just the way they've applied the paint on the digital model. Because if you go back to Bumblebee, the colours differed between each side of the front grille. You see, like
but
just down the bottom below the vent.
That's lighting.
Now there's it's like a black paint app on the left side of the car that's absent on the right one.
Yeah.
So they've just forgotten to fill it in.
I don't quite see where you
at the very bottom of the grill. At the very bottom of the grill on the alt mode. See how you got yellow on this side?
Yeah.
It's like there's someone didn't hit copy and paste on some parts of the figures in these CADs.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Maybe there are some lines missing. We'll find out. What is next? Now this guy's interesting. I got to say I quite like this one. So we do see the return of Shockwave into the line, and he appears to form what people are calling a crab tank.
Yeah.
What better way to make him emote than give him a frowny eye?
Yeah, he does look angry, doesn't he?
This might be the best Shockwave we've had since the Legends one from a couple of years ago.
Like that. I think it might be the only Shockwave.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
We had a very good Transformers Prime rendition of him as well.
Oh, yeah.
And Fall of Cybertron, also popular.
Yep.
Also, Masterpiece.
I'm getting my timeline mixed up with when that Legends came out then.
Yeah, the Legends was a part of the end of Combiner Wars. So, like, a year and a half ago, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I will say it doesn't look like he transforms very much at all. But then,
what gave you that idea?
Fair point.
But the robot mode itself does look like absolutely the best out of the lot, at least in my opinion.
It's actually kind of funny. Shockwave seems to have taken on the G1 Megatron thing of having the cannon over the right shoulder.
Yeah.
So I do think, like, transformation wise, it's going to be pretty simple. But I also quite like the fact that he's got those power lines through his arms as well.
Yes.
If that actually ends up as painted detail on the figure, I'll be quite impressed by that.
Oh, yeah, and it looks like he's got him on the cannon as well.
It does, yeah.
Call back to like Fall of Cybertron and Alex Milner.
Well, so Shockwave's sort of honeycomb design on the chest is also a bit of a callback to that, isn't it? And
oh yeah,
I mean, Cyberverse itself does seem to have this hexagonal design through things as well. But like you can see it in the texture at the background. But yeah,
it's much more sharper edges than you usually see with G1 style stuff.
Yeah, and
the way those legs are designed and molded, they look like. I reckon you'd be able to easily do a fan mode into some sort of pistol with this. I reckon you move some stuff around. Yeah,
Probably. It's
it
like
wouldn't look any worse. It wouldn't look any worse than an upside down submarine anyway.
Yeah, like people made decent looking gun modes for the two most recent Megatrons. I doubt they won't be able to figure it out with this guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, on the big picture, it's nice to see a return of Shockwave, and also, you know, just looking at the head design. Like, I do like the fact that it makes his eye look angry, but also in terms of detail, he does have a bit of paint detail on his head as well. Because obviously he's got the eye, and also he's got his fins in grey.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is just a really nice looking figure. Just the general, really chunky aesthetic of it works. For a shock, it depends on what sort of version of Shockwave, you know, you remember the most. But I always think of him as like this big, bulky bruiser type. So, and this fits that bill really nicely.
I can't wait to see what the character's going to be like in the cartoon.
Indeed.
That'd be nice. And Shockwave coming back to a TF cartoon as well.
I'm pretty sure that there's a Starscream coming up in our future. There we go.
With landing gear.
With a landing, yes. He's two things to note about this. There is landing gear and a fake chest.
Yeah.
And robot kibble on the top as well as the bottom.
Yeah, but his robot mode does look pretty good. It's kind of weird that they managed to make his arms blue but not his legs. Unless someone forgot the CGI paint app, we will see. We have seen Swoop's chest go from red to blue, so we might see a color change on his legs before we finish this up. Yeah, so. I think that they've moved a long way away from his original G1 roots as a sort of an F-15 jet. He's a much more sort of generic, obviously robot in disguise version of a fighter jet. But I think that's okay given what we've seen in the rest of the line.
Does it look to you guys at all like they're trying to go for sort of a bird type aesthetic, like with the hip armor and the way a lot of the panels is? Like, it almost looks like feathers.
You know what this guy looks like to me? He looks like Hasbro's designers actually just going, hey, if you guys didn't like the Power of the Prime Starscream design, too bad, it's here to stay. look at those wings and look at the patterns on those wings. It looks just like the stickers that people have complained so much about on the Voyager Starscream.
The stickers where they covered up paint apps with stickers.
Yeah. And he's got the chunky feet as well. He doesn't quite have the Popeye forearms, but it's not far off. But the one thing, yeah, but the one thing I do like about like the more recent Starscream designs is actually his shoulders. I think they've done his shoulders quite well. Like these shoulders are somewhat similar to his RID ones in the sort of the angular nature, the way they stick up and out. But also they've got these nice lines that come from the shoulder down into the body, and I think they first started that with Combiner Wars. So I do like it. I appreciate the aesthetic of it.
Yeah, I think it all draws back to that F11 design that Don Figueroa did like 8 years ago now. So it just carried through various designs.
I think that has been carried through some of the designs, but I think when they made these guys leader class figures in Combiner Wars, it was when they really sort of set some of the designs of them in stone for, you know, sort of perhaps the next few years to come.
Yeah.
Everything went quiet.
Yeah, I guess
so we are back at the beginning here with the Scout class figures now. We've seen the ultra class Grimlock and Scout class Grimlock. I reckon there'll be a Warrior Grimlock somewhere around as well. And yeah, so in terms of big bots, it's going to be Megatron and Prime. There is going to be a big Bumblebee, but not in Ultimate class. It'll be an Ultra figure. And yeah, I don't mind the look of this little Bumblebee as well.
Oh, it should be a fun line. I'm just hoping that as you said, the prices are a little bit lower.
I really hope that as well, because I don't think they're not aiming at the same older collector market that they aim at for generation stuff. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if it does turn out being nice and cheap, you know, be one of those things where you sort of just passing through the supermarket and are able to pick something up and it's just a nice, quick and easy buy.
Maybe. All right, shall we move on?
Yep.
There is another before Power of the Primes, which does appear to have a very limited lifespan to round out the Prime Wars trilogy. Before Power of the Primes does pass beyond the veil, there is one big bot coming. We haven't actually seen the Power of the Primes Predaking, and we still haven't. But this is possibly the best look that we've got at him yet, because there's a silhouette that appears to have been released through some sort of retail distribution channel. We are looking at the Little Toy Company, which is a retailer that a lot of people in our Facebook group do recommend, and we are looking at Predaking, which is a Voyager combiner. So similar to Devastator from a couple of years ago, this guy's very likely to be just as big, and he's comprised of 5 Voyager scale characters. So those would, of course, be Divebomb, Headstrong, Razorclaw, Rampage, and Tantrum. Now, Little Toy Company is saying that he's expected in August or September 2018. That still might be precluded by someone like Big W releasing him at their mid-year toy sale.
Yeah.
We'll see. And, of course, if this is from Hasbro's promotional material, they have stuck the wrong faction symbol behind Predaking.
Makes sense.
Now, I think making a habit of that.
So now I think this picture down here is just some comic art that it doesn't really look like it's going to be related to the actual toy.
Warning: colors may vary.
Yeah.
But even with the silhouette, like, this is only 5 figures, not 6 like Devastator. So that torso's got to do a lot more as a Voyager figure than what Devastator did. So
yeah, but like the main torso is like a lion-like figure. So, like, you know, obviously the rear legs will have the combiner ports in him, and you know it won't be that complicated.
Yeah.
I think if you remember with Hasbro's Devastator and Combiner Wars, they said to us, like, you know, sure, the figures are Voyager size, but they're not necessarily Voyager complexity. They're a lot simpler, and so I wouldn't be expecting this to push any boundaries in terms of complexity and engineering.
Oh no, I don't expect it to be any different to what Devastator was.
Right. Yeah. And unfortunately, with the way Power for Primes is shaping up, we most likely won't get the more advanced Takara option this time around.
Yeah.
Well, that depends whether or not there's elbows to be had.
Yeah. Look, yeah, okay. If they all have elbows, then I'm okay. Let's put it that way.
You like your Predacons to have elbows. Fair enough. So this is currently up for pre-order at $195, which sounds about right given the price that we've seen for other Titans class figures over the years. And they will be as we said, August or September 2018.
Yeah, it's coming.
Another week, we might actually see it.
Yeah, probably would.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe there's. This might be one of the things that we'll see revealed this weekend. Obviously, there have been some figures. There've been some images go out like this one at the moment. Now, notably, we did see this mirrored onto TFW. I think it was TFW, and they took it down. So that's usually a sign that they've been tapped on the shoulder by Hasbro and told them to take an image offline. I suspect the Little Toy Company probably won't care. And of course, the image is out there now, and it's been mirrored everywhere. So, yeah.
So the Comic-Con repaint, chrome wings.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be a Comic-Con repaint, and we can expect no creativity as per usual.
Yeah.
I'll make a prediction for the Comic-Con version. He'll come with a sword.
Oh no.
Because that is the one thing that is notably missing from this silhouette is a sword, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it won't be as bad as it was with Fort Max, but I would be so annoyed if they pull this again. Like,
also seeing in the future of next week's episode, Perfect Effect reveal Predaking sword.
It's funny because it's true.
And it'll be the size of the figure too, just so you can pay $50 for it.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Let's move on. There is, like I said, Power of the Primes still has a little bit of life kicking around in it. We are seeing now. We have not been a fan of Power of the Primes Starscream, but I think it's fair to say that Elita 1, being a repaint of Starscream, seems to be faring a lot better in fans' eyes now. Possibly because like she's not trying to ape a G1 figure that doesn't seem at all suited to the mold.
I guess this is a much less iconic design, so we're not having to mess with as much.
Agreed. Also, so where with Starscream we saw giant forearms. With this, it actually looks like she's wearing armor. So
yeah, the different coloring does a lot of work for this armor.
It really does.
Plus, you got the expectation of Starscream of what he should look like, whereas this is sort of, yes, there's cartoon designs, there's comic designs, but to have a figure, like just that jet mode, I don't know anyone's going to actually put those stickers on it. If you do, good luck to you. But I think the red set sort of sets it alone.
The stickers come applied in the box, don't they?
Yeah, that's the main issue. They've come pre-applied, so then. Yeah, some nice scuffing for you.
Also, since you
back to the luck with you and Nessie.
Since you called it out earlier, there was a landing gear on Cyberverse Starscream, and there doesn't appear to be a landing gear on the front of this, and so the nose has collapsed.
Yeah, it's a Concorde.
It's a point of landing gear anyway, but just make you go on the ground like you're playing, stand in the air.
Yeah, and that is her combiner torso mode as well. Yeah, it's interesting. They're not really going out and going, oh, the Elita 1's combiner thing is like an all-female team or anything like that. But yeah, there we go. And there's a little bit more detail on the face sculpt as well.
I think everything that works in this figure's favor is that Elita 1 in RDW recently just started her designs being a lot more bulky depending on the artist. So this actually works pretty well for her.
It's a better looking torso than Victorion too.
I guess, yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, let's just go over to the next tab as well. So we do have some looks at Hunger and what combined form of Abominus might look like. Obviously, he's not using the right limbs, but there is also a combined look at Elita 1 as well, using again different limbs. Actually, Elita 1 doesn't really have a preset set of limbs, does she?
No, Elita 1 per box sign just had her with random stuff like Dreadwing and Moonracer.
So she's a Cyclonus. She's just a Scramble City torso.
Yeah, just fill out the line.
I think so, yes. Yeah, and so we are looking. So there's sort of a better look at what she'll look like with figures combined with her. And
is it just me, or do the colors on her make the torso mode look even girthier than the Starscream version?
I think it is a girthy torso. Like if you go back to that there, like that's pretty big. It almost looks like the wings are meant to be folded another way or something.
Yeah, it just seems incomplete. Like with Starscream, you immediately get that connection of this is homaging the movie design, whereas with Elita 1, it just kind of looks like a mess.
Well, she got the holes in the wings, but
yeah. I got to say, I'm not really a fan of the combined look here either. Like, and they've gone back to the stupid little feet for them as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think those feet can pose. They're just way too small.
Oh, actually, you know what? They haven't actually gone back to little feet necessarily at all. We don't really know because there's no limbs. So wherever you find feet, use them.
I wonder if there's any plans for box sets from Takara at all. Where this is going to be Elita Maxima or something, and
if they were going to do that, then you would think they would do it for the Dinobots, and they appear to not be doing it for the Dinobots.
No, it seems like Takara's really just scaling back their stuff right now. So at least maybe we'll see something at Wonderfest.
Yeah, Takara might be scaling back their stuff and waiting for an acquisition by Hasbro.
Yeah. I mean, on the bright side, that Abominus torso looks basically perfect.
Yeah, the hunger torso mode for Abominus does look really good, and I mean, ultimately, he's a retool of Silverbolt.
Yeah, but I mean, it looks like a G1 toy.
It does.
It's just the colors and the shapes, like that specific sort of curvature to it, just looks so nice. I could very much do
quite
about
stick it up as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, one thing we did bring up with whatever his face was last week, he rub sign on the hip here as well.
Correct. Yeah.
It is. It looks like he's got different style of stickers for either shoulder. So
that's a lot of There's a lot of faction symbols on him.
Just in case you're not sure which side he's on.
Before he blows you in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that was probably really awkwardly phrased, but yes.
Blows you away. Shoots you in the face.
Thank you.
I apologize.
Yeah. Look,
it's just like the those other the Dreadwind and like those other jet planes we got, just real vibrant colours. The purples, the whites, the teals.
Yeah, and I think that's why, like, obviously we're looking at Combiner Wars Vortex on the left arm there, and like I think that's why that works so well, because the colors are all sort of a bit gaudy, but they match up. And then the Combaticons is the legs is just like, and it's a bit boring. We'll look up. So yeah, look, we're going to see more of these over the next few weeks. Maybe this weekend. We'll see how we go. Let's move on, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So we have been talking about the forthcoming Studio series for a few weeks now, and we are looking at the first deluxe class figure from Wave 1, which is Bumblebee. And now, Brad, you said here that he seems to be a remold of the Last Night Deluxe Bee, but in his 1979 Camaro, whatever design. Not such a car aficionado that I can pick that, but yeah, go for it. He's got there's a weapon below him in the box. This is quite a large box for a deluxe scale figure.
Yeah, sort of waste of space. It's probably going to drive up the price point, just like we got with Movie 5.
Yeah.
No, noting also that these are co-branded boxes as well. It's Takara Tomy and Hasbro both featuring on it. We did point this out previously. On the back of the box, on the back of the box we do actually get a hint as to why the box is so big, because even despite being just the deluxe scale figure, there is the backdrop included for photographic and collection display purposes. So fair enough. Yeah, you can pay a little bit extra for that piece of cardboard.
That looks like it comes with a base as well.
Yes, that's going to be the gimmick across the Studio series, is their base and backdrop.
Yeah, the base and backdrop. Is the base going to be plastic, or is it going to just be a piece of cardboard?
It'll be a bit of cardboard, surely.
Damn. Yeah, hopefully it actually some support beneath it, so it doesn't just collapse under the weight of the figure.
It actually, it does look like it might be plastic. Am I just being a little bit too optimistic?
Maybe.
I'm just trying to read.
We'll find out come Toy Fair. Like, I suspect that this is going to be like the Studio series full reveal is going to be the big reveal of this weekend. So
yeah,
I imagine we'll get a lot of info over the next couple of days.
Sounds like it, yes. Also notable in terms of logos, we have gone back to the older movie Transformers logo here.
Might be interesting to see if that changes. Like, because I know this is encompassing.
I reckon that will change according to the movie that the figure's been drawn from.
Yeah, which I think would be a bit of a nice touch.
Yeah. All right. So that is the first of the first of the movie Studio series figures. Let's move on to some Masterpiece news. There's actually quite a bit of Masterpiece news coming out this week. First up, New repaint of the Masterpiece figure, Masterpiece 17 Plus Prowl. Now, the plus is Takara's designation that they introduced last year or maybe the year before for redos of Masterpiece figures with animationally correct anime style coloring. Now, with Prowl, you can obviously see that the big change here is that he's got these really gorgeous, really vivid blue windows in his legs now, and there's also that blue paint on the side of his foot where the sort of the rear window of the car is, and of course the bright blue headlights as well. And I think his eyes look like they might be a little bit lighter shade of blue as well, and his gun is now white.
Yeah, other than that, they added paint to the front bumper. Looks like they lightened up the thighs. Gave him white biceps, and they got rid of the highway police logos on doors.
I was going to say those doors look a lot clean skinned.
They would if it's going to be the cartoon accurate figure, right?
Yeah.
I gotta say, like, the more I see these 14 plus, the more I see the plus Masterpiece figures, the better I think they look. Like it's almost like they should have done these in the first place, and it's almost like that's what they're doing with the Masterpieces now, making them look a lot more cartoon accurate, and they're sort of just retroactively going through and correcting those mistakes in the earlier figures in the line.
Yeah, if this coming out now,
it does seem to be the case.
Yeah, I don't expect to see a 39 plus for Sunstreaker because that's already pretty accurate as it is.
This guy, he does seem to have the most deviation out of all the plus figures, at least from what I can tell. Like, he just seems to be a lot more going on with Prowl and than there was with Sideswipe and Red Alert.
Because back in the day, they actually made Masterpiece figures with decent engineering and detail.
Yeah.
By decent engineering, do you mean less engineering?
I gotta say, if you put Sideswipe next to Sunstreaker, it looks like less engineering to me.
Yeah. Sideswipe is a special cookie.
So here's the question that this sort of brings up, right? Are they gonna have to go back and redo the other plus figures and give them blue windows?
Oh, God,
you'll find it's on the board, especially those Seekers and that Prime.
Well, are we going to see an anime correct version of Optimus Prime?
Almost certainly.
I predicted it was going to be 40, but let's go 50.
Yeah, I've been saying for
you predicted Galvatron as well.
I've been saying for years now that they're going to make a new mold for Prime, but if this is what they're doing, then I imagine that is much less on the table now.
Has that MP10 mode not exploded after the 7-Up or whatever it was one? 7-Eleven?
So honestly, I think it's more the case that for figures that are, say, deluxe scaled, you're gonna notice mold degradation more than you will notice a larger figure like MP10.
I guess it's also a matter of there's a lot more deluxe figures than there are Masterpiece ones.
Yeah, also true. So yeah, there's Prowl's alt mode there now. So like you said, much cleaner than the Highway Patrol that we saw from the Japanese version, essentially for the Masterpiece line. Still one of the more gorgeous car modes in the Masterpiece line. I really do appreciate these.
The Datsun mold is just fantastic. If you haven't got a version of it in your collection, you really need to. So even if it's this one, if you can't get a second hand of the others, but
very true.
Yeah, it's nice that it's coming with the shoulder cannons now as well.
Yeah,
like for power drivers, so you don't have to get an exclusive version to get the full suite of accessories.
Correct. Yes. And is this perhaps foreshadowing something?
Prime, you're next.
Prime does look dead, doesn't he? Look at his eyes. There's nothing in them.
Yeah, the colours just look so much more muted on him. Like, especially when you look at the newer stuff. Like,
do you reckon those eyes will get painted in when the Takara do the new one?
Possibly. Like we've seen a lot of customizers do a lot of work on Prime in terms of the face design and stuff. But like,
there's also 50 million knockoffs.
Yeah. There's tons of knockoffs of them, but like this to me really looks like they could definitely give him a more cartoon accurate coat of paint, right? And some of the shinier, transparent parts, like the yellow parts around his waist, like they probably need to be a little bit flatter on a cartoon accurate version. And of course, there's probably less to see in the chest area as well.
Yeah, I imagine that like having blue windows would do an immense amount for this Prime, like much more so than even Prowl.
Blue cell shaded windows.
Yeah,
no, but even just replacing the silver on him with or the grey with white, like the thighs, the upper abs.
Yeah,
just brighten everything up a little bit, and I think it's gonna make it fit in a lot more with the more recent stuff. Certainly, the actual mold, both in terms of aesthetic and engineering, isn't really there with what our modern stuff is. But I think the colors could, colors probably be on the table.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, of course, is that so I think we can agree that the plus version of Prowl looks pretty hot, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Hotter than any of the other plus designs that we've seen. But I think this really does throw the door open for them to redo any masterpiece as a plus version, and it would probably bring an improvement to it.
Yeah, well, especially those older figures, just more vibrant colors on Prime, Soundwave, Grimlock as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of room for them to just go back and revisit these.
Well, yeah, pre MP10s, that's a different story,
and they're constantly reissuing masterpieces as well. So yeah. I think instead of just doing a straight reissue from now on, they'll pretty much just be doing these plus versions.
Well, it's a way for
maybe. Yeah. I mean, they could have just reissued Prowl, but they're not. So yeah. I think that's a fair call.
The last few reissues they did were Megatron, Magnus, and Bumblebee, who are all from the U era, and Nemesis Prime, who was never in a cartoon. So, I imagine, and then this guy seems to be if this is the next reissue on the table, then it would seem that this is what they'll go for if the precedent is there.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We do have a quick look at another forthcoming masterpiece. There is the box for MP40, the Target Master Hot Rodimus version. So this is essentially MP28 Hot Rod. However, his color is based on his appearance in the Rebirth, and he is getting a Target Master, which is actually a redeco of. I didn't even realize that Hasbro's Masterpiece Hasbro's Masterpiece Rodimus Prime. Yes. The first time I read this, I thought it said Optimus Prime. So yes, Hasbro's Masterpiece Rodimus Prime did come with a Target Master, and so this brings that Target Master back into Takara's Masterpiece line officially. So you gotta think they've been planning to do this for quite some time, right?
Speaking of engineering,
that presented itself, because I don't think Rodimus Prime ever actually used a Target Master. But Hot Rod did, right? But yeah, I guess they included it with the Hasbro one because he technically was both.
Two nodes, right? The Hasbro Masterpiece Rodimus Prime didn't come with the trailer.
No, the Masterpiece one was Hot Rod.
He was way more Hot Rod than the Rodimus, right? But also, looking at the name, I can't tell whether he's Hot Rod or Rodimus because he's Hot Rodimus.
Yay!
I mean, I don't know if I'd call him hot, but he's all right. But Anyway, so look, we know this guy's coming. We know what he's going to be. He is essentially MP28 with a new paint job and a Target Master thrown in to sweeten the deal. Who's buying it? I probably will.
I probably won't.
just make it MP28.
Do you know why I'm going to buy it? Because I can't have MP40 missing in the collection.
Well,
right?
yeah, and that's
And
I feel so bad for you.
No, but that's why he's MP40 and not MP28T or something like that, right?
But this is just an anime color with a gun, like.
So essentially, this is a plus version of MP28, right?
With a gun. Yeah.
So there we go. There's your next plus color re-release.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I should be more attracted to this because I've got Carrie in my MP set up now, whereas he was never, Rodimus Prime was never actually in the G1 comic, which is much more my speed, and whereas this guy absolutely was. Just, I don't know, it just doesn't hold so much appeal.
All right, let's move on. It is just a picture of a box. We are not done with masterpieces yet. This is the last masterpiece story for the show, I promise you. Recently revealed MP34S Shadow Panther has gone up for pre-order at an unexpected place. Toys R Us Australia is offering him for pre-order at $110, essentially $109.93, whatever. Not clear whether or not that actually includes shipping or if you can go pick it up at a store. Does Toys R Us ever do pre-orders like this?
I don't know, but that price is low.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess the reason we don't know if they ever do pre-orders like this is because no one ever buys from Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Because usually their prices are horrendous.
Well, just going back to Prowl, the Datsun's tracks, you're looking at about $125 at least.
Let's have a look what happens if I press checkout. Oops, I may have just bought him.
Do you want my zip pay?
No, it's fine. I just thought maybe there'll be like some idea of
we'll go to your cart.
I think the cart is okay. Oh, this is fantastic viewing.
Broad block.
Watching Jason try and muddle his way through the
shopping channel.
I'm trying to muddle my way through the shopping part of Toys R Us without actually buying anything. So yeah, but yeah, so $110. I'm not sure about shipping. So shipping is probably like $10 on top of it. So you're looking at $120 for it. What was the retail price of Cheetor?
Oh, I can't remember what I paid for it now.
So they will be delivered in October 2018, and yeah, look, there might well be free shipping on this. I'm really quite tempted to take the plunge, frankly. Oh, look, product features made of plastic.
They I don't want you Google home the price $109. If you do
the was 95 AUD
at Toys R Us.
I don't think Toys R Us carried it. At least the standard retail seems to be that.
Sorry, what was that for Cheetor? Was it?
Yeah, which makes this seem not so bad.
Do you reckon Hasbro might have been having a few words to Toys R Us about their pricing?
Maybe, because you always see they just sit on shelves forever and then get.
Yeah, but let's also remember that Toys R Us is not in a good way. Like, they are essentially in deep financial shit, and Hasbro and Mattel are said to be sort of the main suppliers of most of their stock. So I wonder if Hasbro is taking a little bit more control over their pricing.
Yeah.
I imagine Hasbro's Toys R Us is just going to listen and do just about anything that Hasbro says because of that sheer amount of influence.
So look, I'm not sure that I've actually seen Shadow Panther go up for pre-order from anyone else. Have you?
No, I haven't seen it in the group. Also, don't go the afterpay option. You pay 3 cents more.
Well, you know what? That's what happens if you go for the convenience of 4 interest-free payments.
Apparently not interest-free.
Yeah, Shadow Panther's up at Toybot, and he's 95, so same as Cheetor.
Yeah, fair enough. So look, if you do shop around, then there are probably some better options for him. And I would also wager that if you do buy from Toybot or one of the other retailers that we tend to like in the group, you will probably be getting a Hasbro Asia release with either the coin or whatever the little die-cast figure that they pack in with him is. And Toys R Us has been well known to not pass these figures, the coins on in the past.
That was going to be my next question, because with this, even with the MP40, we haven't seen any coin token.
Well, so
we just sort of got revealed
no, but we did
at some
with some,
point around release.
We did with Sunstreaker. So, like, Sunstreaker is a very recent release that did come with a coin. I believe Cheetor came with a diecast figure, so I wouldn't be surprised if Shadow Panther comes with a diecast figure as well. But yeah, you never know.
They're really all over the place, aren't they?
I actually think it might be more that they're doing diecast figures with Beast Wars.
They did it with like Grapple and Inferno, didn't
they?
they?
Yeah, they did too, didn't they? Damn,
Yeah.
I thought that would work, but it didn't.
It might be just no consistency.
Yeah. That's why I was weird when I was saying, that Sunstreaker come with a coin. I was like, I thought we moved on from this.
Well, but Megatron came with a coin as well.
Yeah. Okay. What are you doing?
Yeah. So anyway, so pre-orders from Toys R Us if you are interested. If not, there are other retailers. If you come and find our buy sell trade group on Facebook, you will find a few people offering Shadow Panther for pre-order. Let's have a look. What is our next story? We got one more story, and it's going to be about third-party bots. No, we got two more stories. They're both about third-party bots. First of all, we got Magic Square Toys. They've got a character coming out called Strongman. It was a Legend Scale G1 Huffer. These third-party toy companies love their Legend Scale at the moment, and look, hats off to Hasbro. If Hasbro hadn't made some of the Legend Scale bots so good in recent years, there wouldn't be any competition in this area. But we are looking at a prototype of Huffer here. There's not really that much to say about him other than he looks like Huffer. What do you guys reckon? He
looks amazing. Like Magic Square, these guys just seem so promising. They're just doing tiny masterpieces. So they look just about perfect in both modes. You know, they decided, let's make a Legends figure with friggin' ankle tilts and an ab crunch. They're just going all out on this, and it's amazing. Sure, it's not the cleanest sculpt in the world, but
I think it's fine sculpt wise. Like, we're looking at a 3D printed prototype.
Yeah, that sea spray looks fantastic.
Yeah,
it's just above, and I think we commonly thought of stuff like Iron Factory as the peak of Legend Scale stuff, but I think these guys may actually take the crown just because they seem to be doing so much more.
I kind of feel like Iron Factory is very comic oriented with their designs, and I feel like while their robot modes are quite good and quite articulated, I feel like their alt modes tend to be a bit of a mess these days. They're just sort of like, oh look, they've thrown a bunch of things together and it's a Cybertronian figure. Yeah.
You look at stuff and occasionally they do have misses with stuff their Overlord and their fembots. Whereas these guys, I haven't seen a single. Okay, well, actually no, because they are doing that Power Master Prime. That doesn't look all that great. But
can we just
for the most part they look amazing.
For a minute, Brad? Because I opened up these guys this week as well, so these are DX9's little mini seekers, and these guys look fantastic. And again, they're not Iron Factory. They do seem to have a lot cleaner bot mode. And yeah, that. So that's obviously Thrust I'm holding up there. They've also got a very different transformation than the G1 figures as well. So that was quite welcome, I found. I've also got Ramjet in front of me here.
Apart from having the larger representation of the character, why would you pay $250 for a masterpiece scale when they look fantastic as a G1 bot?
A masterpiece,
I suppose.
A masterpiece scale is very different than a Legend scale.
Yeah,
but even though I would say that at least the Iron Factory ones are legitimately better than the MP11 mold.
Yeah, because that sort of lends itself to that masterpiece doesn't. No, the cartoon doesn't do masterpiece justice because the cartoon is simplistic, where the masterpiece has to be more to warrant the price.
I'm not sure that's really the argument that's at stake, but sure.
Okay,
Well,
all right.
In some cases,
let's
like,
go back to the story on the screen share, shall we?
Mm.
yeah, so looks like they're trying to make him scale a bit with hybrid style prime.
Yeah. Look. If you're going for sort of like a legend scale figure, then yeah, it's going to scale that way and scale that way as well. And they're doing mini bots, so yeah.
Very
all right.
promising.
I'm not going to lie, my masterpiece collection is in serious jeopardy at the moment.
It's because you hate it.
I know I don't hate it, otherwise it would be gone.
You know, every time someone says masterpiece, it's like, yeah.
No, that's Sunstreaker.
He doesn't have masterpieces. He has fans' toys.
Yeah,
that's only Dinobots. And
let's move on. We're not really sure when he's coming out, but we're looking forward to it. Let's see how they go. TF Evo is making up for not shipping anything over the next 3 weeks because of Chinese New Year by teasing some new figures. Now, TF Evo's movie-style hot rod, which you can see pictured down here, has been kicking a few goals in the collecting community, and it looks like they're planning to greatly expand their cast of characters over the next few months. And how now? What are we looking at in the background here? There's so many silhouettes to choose from. Obviously, in the very far background, there's actually a Devastator. So it looks like we're going to get
Revenge of the Fallen Devastator.
Third party Revenge of the Fallen Devastator, and I think we have to actually call out just how appreciative we are of Max for not losing his shit at the mention of Revenge of the Fallen. But what else are we looking at here?
Ray J in the pre-show, so it's okay.
Yeah, you did. So what else are we looking at here? What are we going to get?
Moving right to left, we got a lockdown there. He's got his head cannon. There's a smaller bot between him, but the big one behind him seems to be Sentinel Prime from Dark of the Moon.
Yeah, it's got those shoulders.
Yeah. Then we got a Prime behind, which is either AoE or Last Night Prime.
Yeah, it's when he's got
a sword on his shoulder.
Yeah, and well, the torso looks a bit more like the. I'm not entirely sure about because the torso looks more like the original design, but then he has the sword as well. Yeah,
and the little shoulder pad there, which is under the arm of a Dark of the Moon Megatron. It appears, which we've been wanting one of those for a while. So, dangerous waters here. We already commented 2 weeks ago when we had the hot wad wars that how much I didn't think this figure transformed. Max, you've said that some reviews have come out and how much of a fantastic transformation it is.
It's fantastic in one of the Chiefs. It's not fantastic, and it'll take you about half a day. Like this thing is insanely complex.
If movie figures weren't complex enough as it is, but if they're lending that engineering design detail to other movie bots, some that we haven't got, some that like Lockdown, you've got Purakill and that's come out already. That there's already well acclaimed figures, and they're going to do their own version this design as well, which begun the third party wars have again. We've moved into movie bots.
For once, it's a third party trend, which is going to get me. Because despite not being a massive fan of the movies, I know a lot of other people feel the way in that just the sheer amount of engineering in these figures is a massive draw.
So I've just been confirming, if you've just seen me like holding up my phone, I've just been confirming that the Chinese text on this does indeed say Happy New Year. Just in case there was something hidden in there.
There you go.
There was not. Also, I don't care about movie figures, so you guys have fun.
Wait, it says Happy Chinese New Year at the bottom too. I just seen that.
It does, yes. Just in case people weren't smart enough to get out there Google Translate, you know.
Now these are supposed to scale with the MPM line, as far as we know, which That Devastator is going to be 4 foot tall. I don't need
that Devastator will be sold as individual parts.
I don't need individual robot modes. I'm quite happy with
You're going to get them. You're going to get them.
They
will not sell you a 4-foot transformer.
They might do like a box set and then, because they had some of the Constructicons had more than one paint job, so maybe they'll do a box set with one paint job and then individual releases with another.
Yeah, but I'm talking like a Supreme one.
As I just said, like they're not going to sell you a 4-foot transformer as he looks up on his shelf and looks at Jinbad Bruticus. They might. That box was a massive pain to move anywhere. Let's just be honest. But yeah.
No, but just alt mode, then transform into a limb. I don't need robot modes for each, because that's not what the movies was. The movie, he didn't have robot modes for the alt modes.
Very true.
They did, right? They just had the robot modes running around while it was combined, because Revenge of the Fallen is a great movie.
There was more than one. There was more than one set of Constructicons. Those Constructicons were not Devastator. Longhaul and that revived Megatron were not Devastator. But I digress.
Interesting argument.
It's in the damn movie. Watch the movie.
I cannot.
It's in the damn movie. I just don't think it's supposed to be. I don't think it's so much intentional as just Michael Bay forgetting things.
Remember that time when G1 Megatron flew by swinging his mace in one arm, like Thor?
I actually do.
Let's not. Okay.
I've got a really important question for you guys. Who bought new figures? We're finished news. Who bought new figures?
I think we both bought new figures.
I've got a new figure.
Go.
I'll let Brad start because he's in the run sheet. This is the greatest movie figure released.
I'm looking forward to this. It's wheelie, isn't it?
We are returning to 2009 with Revenge of the Fallen. And we're going to go to a Devastator figure. This is Legends Overlord, which come with the...
It's just as well that your lighting is shocking and we can't see it.
Well, it's all right when you're on the screen because you'd like my Overlord was damaged. Overload, I should say, not Overlord. Was damaged at the hip, which means I couldn't combine my Legends Devastator, which...
That's the only thing you want to do with a Legends Devastator.
Yeah, we were talking before about Legends figures being great, and that Legends Devastator is... I still reckon it's a great figure, and...
that's one of the nicest figures from maybe all movies. Just how much that little thing does.
Who thought we would never get Max to say anything nice about Revenge of the Fallen?
I didn't say anything about Revenge of the Fallen. I said something nice about a Legends class figure
from Revenge of the Fallen.
Yes, no,
it's Devastator. It's from Revenge of the Fallen. There is no backing out of this. You've said it.
No, it's okay. It doesn't have the iconic scrotum. Therefore, it's not Revenge of the Fallen Devastator.
I'm not sure that's the word I would use to describe it, but
looking balls. Roy Condesa down in Melbourne, he sent me a photo of some bots he just got looking for some prices, and I said, I really need that. I've been looking for one for years, and because no one wants to sell separate bots, I couldn't get it, so now I just need to find out where his limbs are and head. They're in boxes somewhere.
Oh, okay. Right. Yes. Good. Yeah. All right. So, Brad, you have got the greatest movie figure ever released. Max has obtained a figure that he was talking about obtaining a couple of weeks ago.
I've been sort of on a bit of a third-party masterpiece kick recently, just because I've been really enjoying the engineering of them. And basically the latest in that quest is DX9's Shigua. Come again?
Nothing.
I don't know.
This is their take on a masterpiece Astro Train, and like he's probably the nicest DX9 figure. He's just about perfect.
He's actually one of their original releases, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he came out a couple of years ago, but he's held up really nicely. Like he's a rock solid figure, and despite being a triple changer. Like my experience with Gewalt was that you had to transform him a whole bunch of times to even get used to it. Whereas with this guy, just ran through it once with the instructions, and then each subsequent time has been a breeze, and it's just really fun to do. Because not only is it well built and holds together, so you never feel like you're going to break anything, it's that it transforms in dedicated sections. So basically, you've got arms, legs, torso, and a wing pack. To transform him, you just basically splay all of those out, convert each piece individually, and then just fold it all back together, and there's your other mode. And the individual motions for each of those sections are very minimalistic. Like the backpack with the wings does basically nothing. The arms don't transform like at all between the train and shuttle mode. The legs basically just unfold and you're done. So there's very little going on, but it's such a clever movement of mass that it manages to create 3 very different looking modes.
I feel like DX9 is not one of the manufacturers that we expect super complex transformations from anyway.
Yeah, DX9 they threw me off a little bit with Dual, but then this guy showed me that they do have these really intuitive processes.
How does he scale with the Blitzwing?
He's pretty much the same height, just a lot lankier.
Yeah,
which I think
he wouldn't
works.
He wouldn't be as bulky. He wouldn't be as bulky, obviously, because you've got tanks compared to a train. But
I mean, you do run into the issue of Unique Toys providers still being too small to scale with this guy and Blitzwing.
Yeah.
But I can sort of headcanon that a bit as just saying, "Oh, Octane's a scrawny one."
Can't you just put Octane closer to the camera?
I was going to say, just force perspective it a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe. Like there is one elephant in the room, and then that's sort of like this. He's got this plank underneath his neck, where this bit, it does parts form. So to transform, you need to remove this plank. However, I don't think it's that much of an issue because the robot mode still looks fine and holds together super subtly. This plank doesn't factor into the shuttle mode at all.
Guess what?
The train mode still looks fine.
Nobody cares about parts forming.
Yeah, well, that only goes. That's just fills in the rear of the train, doesn't it? And they need somewhere to put it, so they're stuck up the top there.
Yeah, it feels like that the figure feels complete without it. If anything, its existence is a detriment because it feels like parts forming for the sake of parts forming, where you don't actually need this piece. I mean, sure, it does improve the modes, but it's kind of unnecessary as well.
You're going to go to sell it one day and someone's going to ask, has it got the bit there? And you're going, oh, that's...
I lost it. All right, that's $20 off.
Yeah. Because
I would highly doubt he'd be selling this thing.
That's the same if his gun / landing gear as well, sort of just having that into spots.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't really consider that parts forming just because...
Oh, no, parts forming. Just a big accessory that comes with him that you might not have with him.
Yeah,
if you got him in certain poses.
Yeah, like it is there, but it's kind of unnecessary as well. So yeah, I really like this thing. Almost certainly my favorite DX9 release so far.
Yeah.
Just been loving what these guys have been doing.
Sounds good. I'm going to do one thing. Like, these aren't actually new to me, but I did open them up for the first time this week. So I flashed a couple up earlier. The DX9 Seekers. These guys have amazingly like cool G1 Seeker robot modes. Their alt modes are really good as well, and I also quite appreciate the very tidy back on them as well. Like, look at that. So,
folded paper.
Yeah, it is almost a little bit origami. There's actually there's 3 layers of wing folded up onto the back of him, and you cannot tell in robot mode. He looks fantastic. So, yeah, ultimately, I'm really happy with these DX9 Seekers. I've had them for a couple of months now, I would recommend them. Recommend them quite a lot. If you can get them at a good price, then yeah. There's one thing that people might not appreciate about them. That is the little platform. You can see that the head is on there. If I try and get some focus there.
It's not too bad. It's not like
it's all right when you went like that. It's all right.
Yeah, it's like this. Yeah. It's fun like this. Less so like that, but like you actually like your eye is looking at the general shape of it, and you don't notice until someone actually points it out to you. Right?
Put it on the top shelf so you look up
put
at
him, put him up like that. Yeah.
Are they a free pack or are they individual buy?
They are 3-packs. There's so that's Starscream. There's Thundercracker with a nice sort of light blue color for him, and I've just dropped that.
That head block definitely blends in, being the same color there too. A Thundercracker.
It does. It even sort of more so with Skywalk as well.
Oh, yeah.
And so you saw the cone heads earlier as well. So the cone heads benefit more from the cone head design because they don't have to have that block, and their head is actually a little bit further forward than it is on the other Seekers. But they're a fantastic group. You buy the original, the core Seekers in one set and the cone heads in another. Really, really fond of them. They look fantastic. So yeah. Very happy with them. And that is about it for any new stuff for me. Hopefully I'll have some more in the next few weeks. We'll see.
Awesome.
Nice.
Right. Do we have anything else we need to do before we finish off the podcast? We've been going for about an hour and a half. I think it's about time we finish up. What do you think?
Yeah, so solid length.
All right. Let's get into it then. So that is the end of the show. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you are watching the live recording, I'm not sure if anyone is because it is late on a Friday night. Thanks for checking us out. Sometimes there are a few people in the group who do watch the live record because we do get a few comments on stuff that we've said. If you want to find out more about these stories, there are links in the show notes. They're posted to the week. They're posted to the Transformers Weekly Facebook page and the Podbean site. You'll find us at transformersweekly.podbean.com, Australian Transformers Weekly on Facebook, and of course, all three of us are in Transformers Collectors Club Australia. If you're listening and you're not already subscribed, please do sign up on iTunes because every subscription counts. You will also find the companion show aimed at younger listeners for Transformers Legends. You'll find that at tflpod.podbean.com and on the TCCA YouTube channel. We are a production of I'm all over the place tonight. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia. We are a registered club and incorporated in Victoria. TCCA is run by volunteers who donate their time and money to make the club and the world better for everyone. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country, and we do it by engaging the collecting community just like this. You can find out more information and sign up for membership for just $5 a year as a starting point at transformerscca.com. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back with more Transformers news next week. However, I will be disappearing for a couple of weeks because I am off on a working holiday. I'm going to Barcelona. But
skipping out on this for Toy Fair news.
Yes. Well, look, I'm sure you can handle it.
I'm sure we talked about most of what we're going to see tonight anyway.
Very likely. While in Barcelona last year, I did discover a cache of Combiner Wars Breakneck figures. I will be returning to that store to see what I can see this year. We'll see how I go.
Clearance sale.
Nah, it's a comic store. They don't have clearance.
Oh, okay.
You might have a little bit less Jason for a couple of weeks, but I'll be back.
And a little bit more me. I'm sorry.
All right. Bye-bye, and catch you later.
See you guys.
Catch you later.
All right.